Welcome back everybody to Top Tier Studios. This is episode 24, and in this episode we are going to finish off this tour ride that we started in the last episode. Last episode we worked on specifically the layout for the ride, the queue, somewhat of the queue. We only got the layout of it, and then we did basically all of the show building theming. So that's everything inside of that gray building that you saw just a second ago. So everything that we just did in the last episode, we're actually just going to kind of wrap this ride up. And it took about the same amount of time, which is really weird, I feel like. The last episode was a lot more detail-oriented. This one is going to be really focusing on the station and this queue area and bringing it all together. And then after this episode, we are done with this section of the park, and we are going to move on to our final area for this park. And then after that, we'll be done with this whole park in general. So I can't wait for that to be to get there. We're getting near the finish line, so it's really exciting to see. And then I know like this upload schedule for Planet Coaster really hasn't been so consistent. It seems to have gone to more of every other week, just kind of how everything's going on right now. So I guess that's how you can expect it to go throughout the rest of the series, I guess, considering we probably only have maybe 2 to 3 more episodes left, and I don't know, that's super exciting for me. So and then something you might actually know right off the bat, before we actually get into what is happening on screen, just a little kind of update. I got a new microphone, so I probably sound a little bit different, and I hopefully it sounds okay. I think it does, and I think it's a little bit better quality anyway. So and then I guess that's going to be pretty much like you're going to see that in all of my videos now. So just a little heads up that has happened, so don't kind of freak out there. But we are working currently on this station, and in the last episode I actually kind of mentioned how I wanted this to be a little bit more tarp looking. I didn't want it to be a fixed building around buses, because you know they emit carbon monoxide, I believe, and it's poisonous, and containing that in one area is not very smart. So having an open building, or open structure, I should say, it really makes this a lot safer and more realistic, I think. And then on top of that, I didn't really want to have this outside section too detailed anyway. For starters, I guess it really doesn't make sense to theme this outside, because all the theming in the ride is really taking place inside a show building, and it's showing you the behind the scenes of a ride, or of a show, I guess, TV, movie. So I was kind of thinking about it. How would you theme a queue to kind of set up something like that? And I really feel like you don't. So unless you're like actually have a storyline for your ride, this one really doesn't have a storyline. You're just kind of going through the set itself. So I figured, you know what? Let's just go with a tarp look. Nothing too crazy. And then it's actually pretty simple, but at the same time, it's really complex. And you're going to see some of the intricate details that I kind of worked into that I actually really like how it turned out. But before we move on to actually the queue cover itself, we are going to be working on, well, we actually just finished it, but we did a little bit of landscaping, kind of finishing off this section that was kind of left alone. It's really that turning point that takes you into the building, and then that area where you exit the building. So I put in a little bit of terrain difference, and then some trees and some bushes, and then I really tried to kind of make a barrier between our a couple episodes ago what we made, the go-kart track themed to Back to the Future. So I wanted to kind of separate that a little bit, make it a little bit more of a separate themed area, even though they are very, very close, and since they're both outdoor, it is really obvious to see one another. So trying to kind of getting a little bit of foliage there or something is going to break that up just a little bit. So now we are moving on to the queue cover. And this one, again, I wanted to go with some sort of tarp look, so I've kept with these triangle shapes and some poles. And that's really what I decided to do for both the queue and this station here. And then I kept the same theming, or same color scheme, I guess. So it's as we did in the sign for the last episode. So instead of a black, though, it is a dark gray. And then we have that nice, light, bright yellow. So those are kind of going in there. And then they're triangles, as I said, kind of trying to imitate a little bit of a tarp look. And then back to some more foliage, breaking it up. And then with this queue cover in specific, or in specifically, I don't know how to say that. What am I saying? All right, start over. This cue cover in general or in specific, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, this one is gonna have something a little bit different to it that I think it looks really, really cool. So instead of doing like poles on every single corner of the triangle, I decided to connect the centers with like cables, and in doing so, it looks like they're all holding up one another, but at the same time, they're not. And I don't really know how this look works, and it's kind of chaotic to watch watching it on screen right now in a time lapse like sped up really fast. But basically, I just took these rope looking items in the scenery section, and I just connected them from triangle to triangle, and you can kind of see it almost looks like a power line, like one of the wooden ones, and it looks like they're just kind of connected there. I recolored them to be gray, that way they looked a little bit more like cables, and I really like how this turned out. It's a really minor detail that really doesn't matter. It's just something that I think would, one, be a little bit more realistic, and then I think it looks pretty cool. So that is what we're working on currently. And something else with this one, I tried to make the triangles a little bit different in angles and stuff. So every little cable is a little bit different to place, and so that's why it's a little bit chaotic kind of watching it right now. But all the yellow ones, if you might notice, are all parallel, they're all flat. So I don't know, that's kind of a little Easter egg, I guess. I don't really know if it has any meaning, but just kind of wanted to break it up, make it something a little bit different, and I think we achieved that pretty well. And then that is going to be our cue. So moving right along then, we're not done with it currently, but we're pretty much there. After this, we are going to actually move on to a little bit going back to what we were doing in the last episode. We're actually going to find detail and complete the interior of the actual track ride. So in the last episode, I got a comment, and it was saying basically how to like maybe incorporate like a water pipe busting, and I really like that idea, so I wanted to kind of incorporate that somehow. And in specifically, it said to maybe have like the actors react to it on the green screen. Now, that's not actually going to happen in this particular setup, just because I already have the green screens and I didn't really want to incorporate that in the same area, but I really like the idea of having a prop that kind of busts open and stuff. So we're going to actually kind of clear out a little bit of space first, and we're actually going to have to maneuver the track just a tad bit to make sure the bus will fit through everything. And then all of this props is going to kind of get shoved more towards the corner, and it looks a little bit more cramped now, but basically we're going to add a bunch of piping to the walls. And my idea is this is the prop pipes, obviously, but they would bust open in the event of the shooting, or the shooting of the film, I guess. And then they would kind of spew water and steam out. And I really like that, how that came out. And then these are obviously movable and all of that, so it's just kind of how it's set up. And then the actors could probably practice on it or whatever they need to do to get that done. So that's where I was heading there, and I think it turned out pretty nice. So so that's pretty much the last thing we're going to end up doing in this episode. You can see we're kind of nearing the end of the episode, and these are where these pipes come in right now. It's really just going to go in between our props and this shop that we kind of got going on in here. Really simple, nothing too complicated. I wanted to keep it simple. That way we didn't have to do anything too crazy. And then one thing that I didn't mention in the beginning of the episode, but coming up here in about 30 seconds or so, we are going to have a POV for this ride. I should have said that in the beginning just because I know some people don't really watch all the way to the end, but maybe I'll just put that in a little stamp, although you probably would have saw that if I did. So now that we are nearing the end of the episode, it's about time for me to say goodbye, I guess, because we are pretty much done. This is the last thing we are doing, as I said. So I'm going to send you guys to a POV here in a couple of seconds. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I don't know, as I said, when the next episode will be. But until then, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.